This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. It's a season of wonder all the way at Nordstrom. You'll find the best gifts for everyone you love, plus party-ready looks for every occasion. It's easy with free shipping and returns, in-store order pickup, and more. Shop today in stores and at Nordstrom.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
When you share your food, you share your heart. So what's on your table this holiday season? Save on your festive feast at Kroger with delicious deals on all the holiday classics. Or wow the crowd with something new, like a quinoa stuffed butternut squash. It's sure to add a pop of color to your spread. How about a sweet potato casserole with a crunchy oat streusel topping, made with care for the sweet tooth and the savory tooth? With Kroger, fill your table with love and watch as your guests' hearts get as full as their bellies. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Greetings and salutations, Internet. It's your old pal Patrick Hamilton coming to you once again from a well of disappointment. So why isn't this the Black Christmas episode that I was promised? You're saying to yourself as you beat your hands against the wall and tear, priceless vases from nearby tables and smash them on the ground. Well, here's the deal. Honestly, it's no human being's fault. We had on the fantastic Scott DeFoya. We had a fantastic conversation that lasted about an hour and 45 minutes. And as I pulled the audio down from our host site to edit it all together, I discovered that one of our audio tracks is about 15 minutes shorter than everyone else's. And I thought, oh no, we've lost part of the audio. No, What happened was one of our audios is actually 15 minutes shorter, and all the spaces in between when that person talked are just weirdly shorter than everyone else's. The audio is at the same pitch. Like, I don't know how this can possibly happen. Obviously, this is more like a software coding issue than it is a raw audio issue, because the audio sounds perfectly fine. It's just completely out of order. And I thought, well, this is going to be an arduous fix, but I could probably do it. Turns out, no, I can't just lop it off and push it to when that person would talk next, because I don't know when they would talk next. So it's like putting together a puzzle with no picture on it. And I can do that, but that's going to take time, baby. And it's time I don't have, unfortunately, because I'm leaving on a jet plane. But I don't want to leave you without an episode. And that would really suck for you, because you're probably looking forward to something landing in your inbox as a distraction or as a fun thing to do while you're doing something else. So what we are going to do is give you a episode that we recorded a little while back covering Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive. This is a really fun conversation, and if you're not one of our Patreon listeners, this is going to be new to you. And it's also a great sales pitch for the Patreon, where we do lots of bonus episodes. And I know I hit you up like this every single week, but there's a lot of good stuff on there, and this is just an example of that. So from my heart, my apologies for not bringing you that Black Christmas episode. Me saying that it's really good probably doesn't help things. That being said, I think you're going to enjoy this conversation, and I will work tirelessly to see that episode see the light of day. Conversely, Scout has been working on a project that he wanted to announce on the show, and in the show notes, you will see the link to his work that he did for the new 4K restoration of Reanimator. Truly one of the most outrageously fun and cool horror movies of the 1980s. And this transfer looks absolutely gorgeous. And if you're a Reanimator fan like I am, this is a great presentation of the material. It even goes into the musical and all the processes that went into making the film. Lots of great new interviews, new documentary stuff that you're going to want to check out that Scout's a part of here. And the link is in the show notes. So do him a solid and click that link and pre-order that today. And so, like we always say, the body count will continue. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Patreon bonus time is here. That's right. We're talking about Maximum Overdrive at your request on Kill by Kill exclusively for our Patreon supporters. Hey there, hi there, oh there. It's your old pal, Patrick Hamilton, coming to you once again from a shitty gas station in North Carolina. This is the Kill by Kill podcast, where we talk about horror movie characters in the order in which they die. And of course, there's only one person I trust, that if an ATM is calling me an asshole, she will back me up that maybe I am. The one, the only Gina Radcliffe. How are you doing today, Gina?
How you doing, sugar britches?
Oh, God. This movie's idea of what Southern is possibly a hate crime. I don't know.
I had to decide what my intro was going to be. Either that or like talking, I was cranking up the AC/DC.
Yes. Can we briefly go on an AC/DC rant? Here's the
they
thing.
think they suck.
They suck.
Here's the thing. They fucking blow.
Well, we might be of two minds of AC/DC. I have come around on them as my son has had an AC/DC obsession.
Wait. Where does a 13-year-old in 2024 get exposed to AC/DC? Let me get TikTok.
Iron Man.
Really? Okay.
Iron Man. Yeah.
All right.
So that was his introduction to it, and I'm like, I would have to drive him to school in the mornings because it's kind of across town, his middle school, and so I took it upon myself that I would give him an education on a band. So we would go, okay, this is In Excess, this is AC/DC, this is the Beastie Boys, this is it, and over the course of a week, I would give him an overview of an artist's, output. And so he really took to AC/DC and the Beastie Boys, which is understandable for a 11 to 13-year-old boy.
Fine.
So I have appreciation for them to a certain degree. That being said, there's a reason why they have not been hired to do another entire soundtrack. They are not good at it. They are not the Prince of their generation.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that they were selected mostly because Stephen King likes them.
Yes, and that's fine. That's great. But their version of the Psycho sting irritates me to no end, and I think comes across as damaging to the film's health overall. I don't like their like, come on, man. It's like they watched one horror movie. It's not great. It's really not great.
You know what is great though?
Maximum
Overdrive.
a cornerstone of the it's not good, but it might be great.
100%. I think that is the ideal. That is what when people say, what do you mean when you say that? Maximum Overdrive.
It's just there are elements at play here that you can obviously tell are what Stephen King believes a fun time is comprised of. And you're like, I get it. I don't agree with it, however. I had forgotten until my rewatch last night that this film includes an entire dialogue scene in which we are centered on a man actively shitting. And I'm like, he watched a bunch of Friday the 13th. Is like, you know what this needs is to stop mucking about with whether or not they're shitting while the scene's going on, but to really make that a part of the scene itself. And you're like, Uncle Steve,
Well, the
Come
thing
on.
is, like, you have to the no viewing of Maximum Overdrive is complete without watching the trailer of Maximum Overdrive that is introduced by Uncle Steve. Absolutely coked to the gills. Like, his pupils are pinpricks. Like, this is how high he is doing this trailer. And I'm pretty sure he was that high directing Maximum Overdrive the entire time.
Yes. This movie comes from the mind of Stephen King, co-produced by cocaine.
Yeah, it comes from the mind of a bag of cocaine.
And as the result, every part of it is just amped too high.
Yeah, the soundtrack is too high. The actors are too shrill. They're too unlikable.
Yeah.
Like, this is definitely, like, yeah, you're absolutely right that he based, I think he based a lot, because, like, unsurprisingly, as is invariably the case with the adaptation of a Stephen King short story, the story itself is very stripped down. It's just called Trucks.
Yeah.
And, it's got the basic storyline of a bunch of people, kind of, held captive in a diner by a bunch of vehicles who have inexplicably, I'm pretty sure it doesn't actually explain in the story.
It does not.
How they have, become sentient and communicate by way of blowing their horns. They apparently
the meteor is an addition for the film.
Right. And without that, the story is very effective even without explaining why this is happening. Yeah. And it ends on the character who's ostensibly the character that Emilio Estevez plays in the movie, just feeling the vehicles have all showed up demanding gas, and like he goes out and pumps the gas, and he looks, and the story basically ends with him looking, and there's like miles and miles and miles long line of vehicles, and you're basically, the question is, well, what's going to happen when you run out of gas? And it's like, well, you're probably all going to die. It's like, they're probably going to be very unhappy with you and destroy the building.
Yeah.
We're here. It's just like all of a sudden every single item that requires some sort of power, whether it's plugged into a wall or an engine or batteries, it has become sentient and is intent on, has all of its all their phasers immediately set to kill.
Exactly. And yeah, it's one of those things where the haunting nature of what makes that short story run, when you elongate it, it doesn't quite work as well. And that brings me to my big question, the one that really kept me up last night, which was, what does Stephen King consider a machine? Because
well, like I said, it's like, you have someone, I shouldn't say someone, you have Giancarlo Esposito, critically acclaimed actor, who always has a commanding presence whenever he's on screen. Giancarlo Esposito getting electrocuted by a video game machine. Yes. But you also have a remote control car, which generally tend to be battery operated.
Yes.
Chasing after someone.
Killing a dog.
Yeah, apparently ramming a dog so hard in the face that it instantly dies.
It instantly dies. And it cannot dislodge itself from that dog's mouth. Yeah, there's so many deaths in this movie.
Oh my God, it's impossible. It's impossible.
I tried writing them down and I gave up after the first half hour.
But yeah, you were absolutely, I meant to say earlier, you were absolutely right in comparing it to a slasher, that he was inspired by a lot of slasher movie tropes, because, and I think that it is a very deliberate choice on his part to make the majority of the characters absolutely insufferable.
Yeah.
Whether outright, racist or coded as pedophiles or because, you want to watch and be like, I can't wait to see this person die.
Yeah. Well, it's a weird test run for something like The Mist, because you have this outsized apocalyptic event, and you're viewing it through the lens of this small group of people. And as a result, you kind of see him like play this out and goes, no, what if some of them weren't the worst people you've ever met?
Exactly.
Some
It's
of
like,
them are,
it's
but
like,
not all of them.
it's like, you know, oh, some of these people I guess might be okay.
Yeah. And just see how that plays out, and then make the most gut-wrenching ending humanly possible. And then have a filmmaker who's willing to actually, you know, put that on screen. I don't know that The Mist is a movie that I could talk about at length.
No, that's not a fun time.
It isn't. I very much enjoy that story, but I feel I can walk away from the story without being emotionally damaged by it, whereas I can't say the same thing of the motion picture, which speaks to its power, certainly.
Yeah, it's a very nihilist,
Yeah.
and I don't mind that, but you know, for some reason that one's just like, I'm not having fun here. I'm not enjoying this.
Yeah. Whereas
Oh hell yeah.
this movie begins with an ATM calling Stephen King an asshole, and you kind of wonder if Stephen King isn't trying to tell himself that. And
filming himself in the most unflattering angle possible. Like it's like sort of a fisheye, but yeah, like just his face and like glistening close up as he's looking. It's like the ATM's view of his face.
Yeah, it's like, how do I make these choppers look even worse? He's not a guy who has a ton of ego. He knows.
No. I'm sure. I mean, yeah, I'm sure that he was not taking his directing role terribly seriously in this, right. and that's fine too. I have to ask you though, Patrick, what movie involving an ATM talking to someone do you think does it better, this or American Psycho?
I think American Psycho would be my pick.
Well, I mean, American Psycho, I mean, you kind of get the impression that he's imagining that this is happening. So, yeah. You know, I mean, that's probably a little more effective.
Just a skosh. Whereas this is so obviously a joke. And yet in that trailer that you mentioned, and if people have not watched it, they absolutely have to see it, because his challenge is like, I've seen people, you know, translate my material, and now it's time for me to bring one of my stories to the big screen and scare the hell out of you. And it's like, Steve, did you watch the movie?
Yeah,
because that's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, the feelings I'm feeling when watching it are not terror.
This has nothing to do with it is, I guess, you know, obviously aimed at popcorn horror, which is not a sin by any stretch of the imagination. But I do not believe for 1 second he thought this is going to legitimately scare people in the audience, because there's nothing scary happening.
I mean, sure, maybe if you're a kid, you might be a little scared at the notion of seeing another kid get run over by a steamroller.
Well, which is, you know, you don't see that very often. I will say the movie's opening 15 minutes are its best aspect.
Oh yeah. Then it kind of comes to too. Once they settle the action in the diner, then it's like you start kind of looking at your watch a little bit. So which is you're lucky that there are ultimately so many deaths in it.
It just happens fast and furious, and it doesn't necessarily overstay its welcome, but he also truly misinterprets what a character beat is by aside from watching a guy actively poop and putting the poop sound effects into the conversation. There's that one moment where they wake up in the morning and the guy comes out of what is another room that he slept in and has these swinging double doors, and he swings them open so fast he breaks the glass on the windows. And you're like, are you going to leave that in the movie? Is that what your goal was?
Yeah, another one of those. You want to do that again? No? All right.
No? Okay. That was your intention? Sure. Like you don't know how long you're going to be here. Do you really want a bunch of broken glass on the floor? What the fuck is your problem is what I want to shout at almost everyone in this film, with the exception of a small boy who evades, deadly soda cans by raising his catcher's mitt or catcher's mask up to his face.
That soda machine scene, like the first time I watched it, the third time I watched it, the fifth time I watched this movie, I chortle every time.
It's probably the best death in the entire film. And
I don't even have testicles. That's how I want to die. Just taking one in the crotch and one in the forehead.
And the fact that kid like crawls up to see that he's okay. My favorite thing in anticipation of that scene is when Billy wins the game. All of his teammates are happy, and the coach throws his clipboard on the bench behind them because he's pissed off. He's going to have to buy soda for everybody.
And like, what would soda out of a machine cost in '86? Like 75 cents.
Yeah, it's like maybe a quarter.
Now it's like $8.
Right. So. Yeah.
There, that's your political.
Like, that's your. I got something out of us. That's your political. Like I just went to Japan. I did that every fucking day.
I was gonna say there's your political humor in your episode about Maximum Overdrive.
Right. I was complaining about inflation. Oh God.
Like if we do like a beat by beat of every death in this, again, we'll be here until Christmas.
Right.
Because it's like I would say there's something happens like every 2.5 minutes.
Right.
And that's why I look at like I don't know how you can like I mean obviously I can understand calling this a stupid movie because it is dumb as a bag of hammers.
Yes.
But you can't call it boring. It is not boring.
Yes. Every second it's delivering yet another grotesquerie to the forefront. Like the drawbridge scene, which is you're taking on a lot. In terms of, you're a first time director, you've never been behind the camera before. All right, let's make a scene in which a bunch of people are trapped in their cars on a drawbridge with a so many fucking stunts. And he tries it, baby. He introduces a watermelon truck to it. That's how you know what kind of hands you're in. Because he's like, let's make sure that a guy picks his nose and a watermelon truck is involved. There's death by watermelon in this fucking movie.
Oh, there's death by watermelon. There's death by remote control car, death by arcade game. She doesn't die, but a big memorable one for me that I always think of every Thanksgiving is the waitress that's attacked by an electric carving knife.
Yeah. So again, Jenna, what does Stephen King consider a machine?
Anything that is not powered by humans. I think
but
that's
the cars don't come to life ever. The cars are immune to it.
Yeah, cars are not
work. What the fuck? Hoses are machines now?
I think I would have gone one step further. Like they don't show, interestingly, it does not show anybody in their homes. Like, because I feel like you have a lot of ground to cover. Like, somebody filling their washing machine with laundry, they get pulled into the laundry. And he's done laundromat machinery coming to life before.
Yes, he has.
He has done that. Or some kid coming home finding his mom stuffed in the dryer like My Bloody Valentine or something like that. Like that for some reason, like there's no shots of somebody getting overwhelmed by the electronic or mechanical objects in their house. It's all like either outdoors or in this diner. So yeah, there's a lot of choices he didn't make, which are surprising.
Right. Yeah, like for at the end of this, they all get on a sailboat, but start the motor, and the motor doesn't try to kill them.
Yeah, the boat doesn't sink itself or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, it is very like, it's controlling everything as much as I need it to do to at any given time in the plot.
Yeah, because if the machine gun trolley truck can operate its own gun, but again, you can duck, it can't lower the gun. It can only shoot from its standpoint.
Yeah, it's not
degrees.
It's not only that these various machineries have gained sentience. They can operate on their own. They apparently also can see, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they know what to aim at. Like when this electric knife like turns itself on and like starts sawing into this waitress's arm, it's like it knows she's there. it's like okay, so they have like senses now. They can like they can see or hear or something like it's, you can't think about this movie for any more than an eighth of a second.
Yeah, I agree. The longer you think about it, the worse it gets. That said, you're in a group, you're all watching at the same time. It's pretty fucking hilarious, but also some of the worst character work anyone has ever done on screen. Emilio Estevez is a void.
Yeah, he's like, well, who are you? I'm the hero. Okay. And well, I'm the hero.
What else are you bringing to the table? It's not like you haven't seen him do character work. This is coming on the heels of Repo Man, and he is doing 1/10 of the work.
Yeah, he looks embarrassed to be there, honestly.
Yes.
Whereas you've got other people like how do you pronounce it? Yardley Smith, where she's just like tearing chunks of the scenery off with her bare hands.
She has a switch has been flipped on her to annoying.
Yeah, she's in constant panic mode, and for her panicking exhibits itself in constant whining.
Yeah,
from the minute she appears, and the movie literally ends on her whining about something.
Yeah,
like she's complaining about that this boat is their only escape to survival. She's complaining about the fact that she gets seasick, and it's like, push her the fuck overboard. My God.
Possibly the worst.
Yeah, I think it's a joke. I'm assuming it's kind of he's winking at the audience and she makes it to the end. Because, like, fuck you, I zagged on you. This is the character you hate the most, but I'm going to let her live.
Yes. Well, I can't help but compare this in many ways to other exercises by King that we've covered. That underground rat movie, whose name escapes me.
Graveyard Shift.
Yeah. It kind of has the same thing going on where everyone is so aggressively horrible that you like, what is the point?
And also a blank of a leading man. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Whereas Pat Hingle,
he's doing his. You've seen Pat Hingle in a million things. Usually plays old racist white guy.
Yeah, and he's playing another one here. He's king of the dipshits, and you kind of like, yeah, King has nailed this harder so many other times.
Yeah, you got random rednecks, which, as we know, he loves random rednecks.
And yet Frankie Faison is in this movie, and you'd hardly know it. He just disappears, And he survives in the end. He's just nowhere to be found as a character in this movie. It's like, why invite this very engaging character actor to do nothing in your motion picture? Again, so much cocaine was being used.
Oh, yeah, so much.
Yes, I think the bridge to me is the highlight in terms of the variety, like the most skill is being shown in that. Whereas once we get to the gas station, it very much settles into one of these assholes has to die every 5 minutes. Which one will it be next?
Yeah, it's not even like it's like you play a guessing game. Which one of them is going to die next?
Yes. And the Bible salesman, I believe that's directly from the short story in the sense that here's this horrible person who's introducing a dogmatic religious view, a king trope, and he's hit by a truck, launched into a swamp, and is somehow still alive and complaining about it.
And for some reason, he's talking like this.
Yes.
like it's like, is somebody like stepping on your throat, sir? while you're like, you know, presumably dying of like, you know, a broken back or you know, every bone in your body is shattered, but
Yeah.
he's already died and come back.
Yes. But it's also that King loves this particular thing where this horrible person has received an injury you think they would die from, but they're still alive. But the inherent fact that they're an asshole still shines through. So there's a part of you who's like, well, this person's alive. And if I shouldn't let them die. But also, here's the person everyone would agree we should let this guy die.
Right. And then it comes down to like a moral question is like, you know, is it acceptable to just let someone die?
Yes.
And it's like, well, probably.
This guy, I don't know. There's a case to be made.
In some cases, yeah. And honestly, I always thought that the guy was like I mentioned, like kind of coded to be a pedophile. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but like, you know, overly religious characters never come off good in King's writing anyway, but you know, I mean, for good reason in most cases. But like, I just feel like, you know, we don't have enough reasons to hate this guy. Let's also make him come up as kind of a creeper too.
Yeah. It's not great. I was stunned by how sunburnt Emilio Estevez is in the beginning of this movie.
Well, he is working out in the middle of, you know, fucking nowhere.
He's a fry cook. He's not, his face is not in the sun as much as the guys who are pumping gas.
Getting too close to that grill.
Right. Really. I just assumed that this film's so out of order that they did a whole bunch of his, you know, pumping gas scenes before they started filming his opening moments. And so he's just beat ass red. It's crazy. I don't think King knows how to like people. That also doesn't help.
No, he doesn't. He really does not have I am glad that he recognized that directing was not for him.
Yeah.
Because he really has no skill for it.
It's just a random assemblage of movie scenes by an amateur that ends up becoming entertaining in spite of itself.
Yes.
I think. He just doesn't have the capacity for it, and he does not know how to gauge performance. He doesn't know who's underperforming and who's overperforming. He's just allowing it to happen. And I think there's a certain joy to that because there's no ego to this, but then you kind of miss someone going, no, I know what a movie is. Let me show you what my version of a movie is. And his is like, my version of a movie is an assembly of scenes. Well, that's the barest definition. So you got that going for you. And he at least understands his story to the point where those beats play out. But it would be nice if you cared the least bit about Emilio Estevez's character. The Laura Harrington character here, whose name I don't know is ever spoken out loud.
She's just like the girl.
She's the girl. She walks into this movie, or it doesn't walk, just rides into the movie dressed like she's straight out of 16 Candles. It's true. I mean, I guess that was how people were dressing.
Like I love the fact that if you look at the cast, there's a couple interesting things I want to note about the cast here. So you've got Emilio Estevez and Laura Harrington, both of which are obviously not from this town. Like how they ended up in this shitpoke town is there's no explanation, but you get that they're not from there.
Yeah.
So their names are Bill and Brett. The girl's name is Brett. Meanwhile, all the Southerners are Bubba, Wanda June. The kid's name is Deke, which is a name he really likes. That name has come up for characters for him a couple of times. That was the guy in the what about the when they're on the dock, the first one that's sucked into the oil. Yeah. But also another interesting thing, again, Giancarlo Esposito as video player, way down on that list. He's just above Stephen King, but also credited as second woman, the second Mrs. Donald Trump, Marla Maples.
Yeah, I think she's in The Bridge Disaster somewhere. I really looked for her, but
still less embarrassing than Donald Trump's appearance in Ghosts Can't Do It. There's more political humor. Zowie.
Take that, Donald J. We got him. Lower the banner, everybody. We got him. He can't recover from this one.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, this is a real assemblage of humanity. And I think it's just iconic in spite of itself.
It is. Like, well, I mean, of course, everybody knows that the truck, the Green Goblin truck, which I do love the design of this because it's so like, it's supposed to be like a truck for a toy company.
Right.
And you've got this satanic looking mascot on the front of it. And I'm like, did it always look like that? Was it always leering like that? Or did it change its expression because it's like, overcome by this comet that's like, that's taken, like, did it like reform its face so that it looked evil? It's leering like fucking Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
I mean, that is Green Goblin. It absolutely.
Yeah, but why don't you put that on like a toy company truck?
Well, the clown that's painted on the back of it is no better, and I would harbor that it is even worse. Like,
why is this mascot giving a Kubrick stare? The logo for a children's toy company.
Happy Toys.
For Happy Toys. HAPITOYZ.
Oh boy. Look out, Prince. We've got a new fun speller in the house, and his name is Stephen King. It works. It just weirdly
it's so
works.
Silly. Like it runs a guy over, and there's just like a smear of blood on the Green Goblin's face.
It's just weird to me that King saw Carpenter's Christine and said, I don't know, it's just too subtle. We need to amp this up. We need to make this come alive. And you're like, kind of like, oh, Uncle Steve, this isn't for you. And he realized that.
Yeah, no, at least he accepted that directing was not his forte.
Yeah. Whereas other people have not. and continue to drive onward, and other people give them jobs. He was like, I tried it. The result was maximum overdrive. I think that speaks for itself.
Yeah. And you know what? Other people have made worse versions of his writing. So,
yes.
I would say again, this is not a good or well-made movie, but it is an extremely entertaining movie.
Yes.
And I would watch that any day over some of the more dreary and interminable versions that other people have made of his stories.
Yes. I would be interested in watching the sci-fi original version of this movie entitled Trucks, as comparison. Like, here's someone who's like, I'm going to come at this seriously as I can on a sci-fi movie budget, and see what they did with it. Because I've never watched it, because why would I? I already have Maximum Overdrive. But it seems to be an attempt to get to the psychological core of the original short story. And I find that interesting and compelling up until the point I probably would watch it and go, well, it's no Maximum Overdrive.
It's like, what am I saying? Well, the thing is like, Night Shift as a story collection has so many really compelling and very weird stories in it.
Yes.
And none of them have been well served by their various movie adaptations. Like the Boogeyman last year, it was okay.
Yeah.
But again, it was fine. But like, it does not, typically of a lot of Stephen King adaptations, pretty much after David Dastmalchian's character is killed off, after that, it stops resembling the original story. Like up to that point, it's kind of a dead on like rendition of it. A guy was a therapist and says, "Oh, well, my kids are dead." And they thought I did it. And like, well, did you? No, it would have been easier if I did, and then tells a story about how this boogeyman comes in and murders his, small toddler age children. And it's a horrifying, deeply disturbing, unsettling story. Because, it basically ends with, there really is a boogeyman. It's not this guy imagining it, and that, he actually killed the kids himself. And, and the movie does do that a little bit, and then just kind of forgets it and becomes its own thing after that. Children of the Corn, it's fine. It's, but like, there hasn't been a really good rendition of any story from that collection yet.
Yeah. Like I was just going through some of the titles, and like, you have Children of the Corn. Sometimes they come back, which
oh my God,
made 3 movies of.
Fucking sequels.
Yeah. They have The Mangler, which
oh my God,
maybe we have to do on the show at some point.
They've got something they haven't even tried yet, like Strawberry Spring, which is right. Another very disturbing story. Yeah. I Know What You Need, which again a very disturbing story, which is basically about a stalker, which you would think would be ripe for a movie, and no one's tried it.
One of my favorites is Battleground, which I think Joe Dante.
Battleground, they did do that, I think.
On Nightmares and Dreamscapes on TNT. Yeah.
No, I think I thought they did one with the Twilight Zone.
Right. Well, there's the original Twilight Zone one. Is I guess they did do that on the reboot of Twilight Zone too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that I really love that short story, and I just don't know that you can make a full movie out of it, is my guess. That's my guess.
You got the really weird ones. You've got the lead into the
3 movies out of Sometimes They Come Back.
Yeah, which again is like a typical, psychotic bully story. Because he loves them. He loves the psychotic bullies. You know, and it's like it's like a witchcraft story. And but you know, it's like, nope, we need to make more of these.
It worked. Getting Matheson on board. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't watched that one since I worked at Blockbuster. So
I don't remember it being very good.
Yeah. And so speaking of very good, there's Maximum Overdrive. I do love that kid who dies by steamroller first falls over his own bike's handlebars, though.
Yes.
Like the setup is top notch and the payoff is even better.
You know, as far as like steamroller deaths go, there's this one, and there's the guy from Austin Powers. and in both cases, they had ample time to get out of the way.
Oh my God.
I feel like that kid could have rolled to avoid getting run over
really
by a steamroller. Instead, he just sort of covered his hands like,
maybe this will help me. No, you can't.
I mean, the best you can
yourself from a steamroller.
You know, I feel like Steve consulted with people. It's like, can we show him flattened like a Looney Tunes cartoon? And Steve's like, and people are like, Steve, we can't do that.
But I can show the dog dead with a toy.
But there's apparently this toy, this remote control car must have been launched from a cannon into this dog's face.
I meant to look. I don't know what that girl in the window who's hanging out of it.
Oh, that was a hairdryer. She was holding a hairdryer.
So how the fuck did the hairdryer kid the hairdryer blew itself around her neck and strangled her?
I mean, there's a couple things a hairdryer could do. I mean, it could electrocute you. Maybe it went up too high. Maybe it gave her like, you know, frizzy, unmanageable hair. You don't know.
Yeah, sure. Dried out the scalp. Too processed.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure. People die from that every single day.
Of course. We just don't like to talk about it.
We don't. And we like to talk about.
Well, okay. So instead of choose your own death, we'll get to that. But I have an idea for an alternate version. So there are just too many good ones to choose from.
Anything else you want to talk about from Maximum?
I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's genuinely a lot of fun. Again, like dumb as a box of hammers. It's like, you know, there are no characters to root for. Emilio Estevez is ostensibly the hero because, you know, by design, I think he gets the most dialogue. But he looks annoyed to be there. It feels very much like a contractual obligation. I mean, the best I can say is they don't really try very hard to establish some sort of romance between him and this girl who's another just absolute blank. You've got some colorful characters, let's say, who die in all sorts of you know, imaginative ways. I can sense that the time that wasn't spent on developing these characters was spent on figuring out what would be the you know, most ridiculous and entertaining ways for them to die. It is very funny seeing Giancarlo Esposito pop up in it. You know, yes. He's one of the first ones to get killed off. I don't even think he gets any dialogue. He's just like playing this video game and gets electrocuted by it.
It's a real under 5 performance.
Yeah. Then you see him, like, I think his very next movie was Do the Right Thing. which he basically like steals every scene that he's in that. Yes, but
he's electric.
But it's just so funny to see him in this. But yeah, if you have, it's a good party movie. I don't know. Patrick and I have been talking about, since my show went so well, we've been talking about that you know, we feel ready to take the next big step of trying to line up a live show. And I think this would actually be a really fun one to talk about, mostly because I'm pretty sure the audience would be familiar with it.
Sure.
So, you know, I think it would not be difficult to keep them entertained and you know, on on their toes. But yeah, I you know, definitely, you know, with a group, it's even more fun. So yeah, I genuinely, I enjoy it. I really do.
Just to go through some of these, we got defenestrated through the windshield of a car, fallen to the ocean in a gap in the bridge, launched through another car window, crushed underneath a falling van, hit by a car when the bridge opens, inside of a turned over van, crushed underneath a falling watermelon truck.
Sure.
Crushed under Jeep, turned over Jeep, destroyed. Now here they're listing the sentient objects as deaths. So destroyed by Bill with a hammer for the electric knife, electrocuted by an arcade machine, shot to death by a soda machine, soda cans.
Best one.
Run over by a steamroller.
Second best one.
Run over by a semi truck. Throat shredded by chainsaw off scene. Eardrums blown off by a cassette player.
Again, battery operated. Why is this thing controlling things that are battery operated?
Yes. Again, what does he consider a machine? Killed by sentient machines off screen. I mean, sure. Choked by a toy police car. Choked by a hairdryer. They're also going with choking. So I think it blew around and choked her. Run over by semi-truck. Accidentally drive off cliff. Oh, we're not talking about the sentient trucks. No. Shot to death by a machine gun, a sentient machine gun. Several people die that way. Accidentally blown up by Wanda June's. Oh, that's another truck. Stop. You need to designate these. Killed by sentient machines off screen, rotting corpse seen in school bus. Killed in car crash. And there you go.
And run over by the Green Goblin truck.
Run over by the Green Goblin truck. So,
which I think is the last death.
Makes sense.
Because I mean that's a build.
The truck sneaks up on that guy, Gina. A truck sneaks up on somebody.
It's like slowly all of a sudden the light. I'm like, hi, I'm here.
I've been watching you.
I've been leering at you from afar.
Your desire to steal that ring will cause your death. But yeah, did that truck roll to that point? Like, how does a fucking semi truck sneak up on you?
Again, also, how can it see what you're doing?
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, it might as well be like turned to a Looney Tunes cartoon and like sneaking on like its tires turn a little feet that go doot, 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 doot.
Oh, that's the only thing missing.
Just not in the budget. They could have. They did it now. They could have CGI'd that.
The technology's there now, but in 1986, you just
get Andy Serkis in there to do that shit.
So yeah, death by soda can or steamroller is the way to go.
But my alternate version of choose your own death venture is if this were to happen in real life, and we are, as we record this, we are at least on the East Coast to experience an eclipse tomorrow. So let's assume that that's just like a comet passing over the Earth.
It might as well be. In terms of magical bullshit.
And let's say that all quote unquote machines come to life. Yeah. What would be the stupidest thing you can imagine happening to you? That would lead to your untimely demise.
I probably, I guess death by our coffee machine would be the stupidest. And find a way for that coffee machine to kill me. It's been there. It is a prized object. It's that or the Pebble Ice machine are the two objects in our house that are so gauche, that are so problems of the bourgeoisie. But were perfect purchases because I use them every single day. Are they going to kill you
for your hubris, you think?
Yeah. For having too much money at one point in my life, a problem I wish I had again. But that's a lot to say for a guy who just went to Japan's. But maybe I'm just feeling the sting. But I'd like to work in the industry again. I'll put that out. I'm gonna say it out loud until it starts happening.
I think for me, God, I live in New York City, so there's so much potential for various horrors to meet me, whether in my home or outside my home. Certainly, I can imagine. I'm trying to go through one of the Iron Maiden style turnstiles in the subway system, and getting stuck, and it just kind of starts whirling around at like top speed, and then I just like puke myself to death, or like I just get battered around it so much that I just like when it stops, I just fall out like it's unrecognizable heap, like a pile of laundry.
Yeah. I think all these work. Considering how many air conditioners could fall on you at any moment, or
oh God, I worry about that every day, even when we're not facing an eclipse.
Yes, but face it, we must. When is that happening again?
That's tomorrow.
Oh, that's tomorrow.
That's the 8th as we record this, and this will be up on the 21st. If we all are still alive.
If we're all still here, baby, this is all for now.
So we should tell you, our fans, that we love you and thank you for all the good times.
Yes, very much. As my dog chases squirrels outside.
He doesn't know what's coming.
He doesn't care. I told him about the eclipse and he just doesn't get it.
He's like, Dad, what's an eclipse?
What is the sun? What are you talking about? And so that just about does it. This was an excellent choice.
Yes, this was David's pick. Now, David, you also suggested Return of the Living Dead. Now, we have done Return of the Living Dead. Yes. That was a long time ago, though. So you're going to have to look on our that was a Patreon episode too.
It was.
Yeah. All right. So just look back on our catalog for it. You should be able to hear it. I know there was some issue with folks changing their levels and not getting access to some of the stuff, but I think that one was a regular main Patreon feed. So yeah, just go back I think at least 3 or 4 years, and it's there. We have done that one.
Weird to think we have that many episodes out there.
I know. It's like a gold mine of material to go through. True. If you're just new to our Patreons now. But yeah, so we have done that one. So you're welcome to go back and check that one out. But yeah, no, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, it's got to be this one.
Thank you, every single one of you, for helping keep this podcast free for everyone else. Your contributions to the show are greatly appreciated, and we're thankful for them every single day. Next up, we'll be doing, on Patreon at least, we'll be doing a movie commentary. I don't know what movie we'll be covering, but it should be fun. The last couple have been. I even redeemed my appreciation of Prom Night. I really enjoyed it this last time we watched it. So sometimes revisiting something really does pay off.
Yes.
So we're very thankful for that coming up. Listen and share us on your main feeds, on your socials. It really does help us be seen and heard by more people, and bring our community together. Join us on various socials. That'll pretty much do it for this particular episode, for myself and for Gina. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. It's a season of wonder all the way at Nordstrom. You'll find the best gifts for everyone you love, including tons of ideas under $100, and gift experts to help. Wondering what to wear? They have everything from cozy styles to party perfect looks, along with free style help from their stylist. Plus, they'll help make your shopping easy with services like in-store order pickup, gift wrap options, free shipping and returns, and more. Discover the wonder of the holidays today, in stores and at Nordstrom.com.
Have you heard about the podcast Menopause Unmuted? Menopause Unmuted is a series developed to educate and break down the stigma around menopause. Hosted by OBGYN and menopause expert Dr. Mary Jane Menken, this podcast features real women talking candidly about their menopause experiences. These stories are as tender, uplifting, and honest as it gets. If you're looking for relatable insights and practical information to help you in your menopause journey, listen to Menopause Unmuted, brought to you by Pfizer, wherever you get your podcasts.